And welcome to this week's Artist on Art. I am your host, Nada Milkovich, the hostess with the mostest, and I have the great pleasure of speaking with Laura Barnes-Walker. Laura, thank you for coming into KZSC today.
Thank you for having me in today.
Oh, it's my great pleasure. Laura Barnes, oh, there she goes. A little preview of what we're going to talk about today. Laura is a local belly dancer. She has, those are her zills. She's going to play a little zills for us a little bit later on. And Laura has a troupe called the Calla Lilly Dance.
Calla Lilly Tribal Belly Dance.
Calla Lilly Tribal Dance. And Laura is also an educator. She has been teaching belly dance for 5 years now.
I believe I started Calla Lilly Tribal in 2010, but I was subbing as a belly dance teacher for Palika and for some yoga teachers around town before that, for a couple of years before that, probably.
And you're also a yoga teacher.
Yes, I am.
She does a very interesting mix for her classes, which we'll get back to in just a little bit. Laura is local. She lives here, but you're from Santa Barbara.
Yeah, I'm from Santa Barbara originally, so I consider myself a Central Coaster. Although when you go down to Santa Barbara, they don't consider themselves Southern California. They consider themselves the southern end of the Central Coast. So I think of myself as a local Central Coaster.
A local Central Coaster. West Coaster for sure. And Laura has been dancing since being a wee little one, 12 years old. And you've been performing since even younger, 8 years old. So you've been a performer pretty much your whole life.
That's correct.
And you started dancing hip-hop, is that right?
Well, actually...
Oh, breakdancing.
Back in the day, we called it breakdancing. Yes. And,
pre-hip-hop.
I was actually doing, as a 12-year-old in junior high, I was doing like jazz and break because that was like the cool thing to do. And so, but I think it served me well in the belly dance realm over time. But before I got involved in dance when I was a kid, I was a gymnastics kid, so it was all connected.
It was all connected. And then as you got older, you moved to Santa Cruz.
Yeah, lots of things happened in between. But yeah, I did. I was traveling for a while, and I went to school in San Francisco and lived in Alaska for a couple of years as a tour guide up there, as a naturalist, and then moved down to Santa Cruz in the very end of 1998 and immediately started getting involved in the yoga community down here.
And then when did you start taking Palika's classes?
It's hard to remember exactly. Sometime after the year 2000, I had a friend of mine, a good friend, my friend Cheryl Thompson, actually forced me to take Palika's class. And this was probably 2002, maybe 2001, something like that. And we were dancing at a club together, and Cheryl was like, "You can move those hips. You got to come to belly dance class with me." And I was like, "No way, forget it. I'm never going to do that." Because all my dance before was, I'd done hip hop and jazz and salsa, nothing where I ever had to like dance around, in a bra with sleeves. So I was like, forget it. I'm totally not ever going to do that. There's no way. And then she got me into class. She like forced me to write the check to save my spot in Palika's class.
That's the thing. It was really hard to get a spot.
It was. Her classes were really popular, and I was like, all right. I kind of got dragged in and ended up within like the first class just falling in love with this particular dance form after spending so much time on like salsa when I was in San Francisco and modern dance when I was in college. And so it really, I just felt that this dance form spoke to me so deeply of the divine feminine and also community. It really is a dance form that brings women together because this particular type of belly dance is not, no one's ever supposed to be on stage alone. It's not a soloist dance like cabaret dances. It's meant to be done in a group, and everybody who performs it generally has been dancing together for years to learn the same repertory. And it is communicated, so you can dance extemporaneously and it looks choreographed because each movement is communicated by a physical cue like the turn of a head or an arm posture, and that tells the dancers that you're dancing with what you're going to do for the next 8 or 16 or 32 counts. And so in that way, and then you change leaders during the dance. And so in that way, no one's ever the only one in the spotlight. Everybody relies on everybody. Everybody is only as good as your leader, and your leader is only as good as how people are following you. So it really does build friendships and communities.
It sounds like a team.
It is. Yeah, it's absolutely 100% teamwork. And, I don't think you can find that power in solo dancing. That's just my opinion. Lots of people have lots of opinions about all different kinds of dance, but my opinion is that the power in dance performance comes from the group and the coordination and choreography of a group of women working together.
So you're listening to Artist on Art. I have the great pleasure of speaking with Laura Barnes Walker, who's here in the house talking about her belly dancing, both as a practice and as education that she does. She started belly dancing with Palika. What's Palika's? How does she go? Her last?
Palika is like Cher. She has one name.
And
Palika of Heavy Hips Tribal Belly Dance.
Heavy Hips Tribal Belly Dance was a troupe. I think they're still performing.
They're not actually performing anymore.
But they were, and they did for a long time. And Palika brought to Santa Cruz, in a way, tribal belly dance.
Yeah, I think so.
And so what Laura has just been describing is a specific type of belly dance called tribal belly dance. And it is a new form of dance started here in the United States. In fact, San Francisco, we might say.
That's correct. Actually, American tribal-style belly dance was innovated by Carolina Noricchio of Fat Chance Belly Dance. And she was the one who really came up with this particular repertory of cues that you can lead and follow to create an extemporaneous dance that you can do kind of on the fly, on a dance floor or on a stage, and not really have to choreograph it ahead of time. And there is a long lineage of belly dancers, but this particular type of dance, I think, is very special in that it's an American amalgam of a lot of different dances. It's not. I always tell my students, this is not the most authentic kind of belly dance there is. There's lots of different kinds of belly dance. There's folkloric belly dance where people try to reproduce the costuming and the exact folkloric steps, like authentically, which is a beautiful and amazing form of dance. There's cabaret belly dance, which is, I think, one of the most authentic types of belly dance, because cabaret belly dance was basically, the Middle East is it's an area of great conflict. And when people are in great conflict, there is a lack of abundance. And when there's a lack of abundance, you do what you have to get by. And these small communities would put their daughters up on stage to do these folkloric dances. And, people would throw money, and they'd incorporated those coins into their costumes. And that's where cabaret belly dance came from. That's why it's called cabaret, because it's like a cabaret show. And once again, I have to caveats and addendums. There's lots of different historical.
Yeah. It's really hard to really try to delineate belly dancing, because another huge influence in the early 1900 belly dance was Hollywood. And so then there's that whole Hollywood injection of what Hollywood wanted to see and how they wanted women to move. And so these folkloric, more authentic dance steps were, how I understood from Palika's research and her understanding was, and actually other people that I know that have studied belly dance and gone back to the Middle East and Egypt, is that women danced for each other. They did not dance for men. It was not for titillation. Right. It was for female community.
Yes, absolutely.
And one step further, which Palika also explained and would demonstrate quite beautifully, was that it was, in a way, for preparation for childbirth.
Right, absolutely.
So building up your stomach muscles, building up those core.
Or as a meditation for people who are going through that. You dance for someone who's near childbirth or in labor even, as a calming meditation so that they can, to help them get through it.
Yeah, and if you can imagine a whole village of women coming together and dancing for the mother, with the mother. It brings a tear to my eye. It's really beautiful.
It is beautiful. And that's that group dynamic that I'm talking about when I talk about how important this type of dance is. To me, it's like bringing communities of women together. But also on the lighter side, just just to have that community, we have a lot of fun, and we dance together and we celebrate, just being together and having, for a lot of my students, and, the modern interpretation of that is that there are a lot of my students that walk into my class and I think they haven't held still all day, or they haven't moved their bodies all day, or they haven't just stopped to breathe all day long. I mean, we are all so busy, we're rushing from one thing to the other. And for these women to be like, okay, I'm giving myself an hour and a half to go to this dance class. And so we start every class with meditation to, what I call it is, let the day drop away. And so that is something that I incorporate into every class, because I think it's really important.
Laura Barnes-Walker also incorporates yoga into her class.
That's
which
right.
I love, I gotta say, because I've never taken another dance class that starts not only with the meditation, but, Palika's classes started with meditation.
Right.
But then moving into stretching and kind of in a way conditioning the muscles for the next step of the dancing.
Well, I really feel strongly that yoga creates that mind-body connection that you need for the control that you have to have in belly dance. And so when I started, I am an absolutely dedicated yoga practitioner, and when I started teaching dance, one of the teachers that I was learning from a great deal, and this is someone Palika introduced me to, is Rachel Bryce, who is also from Santa Cruz and a dedicated yoga practitioner, and she actually studied with Kofi Busia here in town. And Rachel Bryce,
I think she's one of the most famous belly dancers in the world now.
And I actually went down to Costa Rica to do a week-long workshop with her many years ago. And that's when I was like, yes, you have to start belly dance with yoga. And so my classes start with a 5-minute meditation, about 25 minutes of yoga. And the yoga is designed to prepare the body for whatever movement we're doing that night. So if we're doing a lot of hips, I'll do a lot of hip openers. And if we're doing arms, I'll do things, some shoulder openers and heart opening exercises in yoga. And then we do some strength conditioning, of course, the all-popular core work, which I love in class. And then,
the hardest part of the class, folks.
And then,
but Laura makes it fun.
It is fun. Core work is fun.
Yeah, I just keep saying that. It'll be true.
Anyway, but yes, I make my class cheer for the core work part, even when they're groaning in pain. And then we go on to dance isolation drills, which is muscle isolations to prepare for these dance movements. And then we learn repertory movements the last half hour. It's a lot to cram into an hour and a half, I'll tell you that much, but we usually manage it.
Yeah, and you're actually, it seems, surprised how much time we do have left to maybe review some steps from the week before.
Right. I try to put a little review. That's really the most challenging thing, is that I'm like, an hour and a half just doesn't seem like long enough to me. I would love to teach a 2-hour class, but I don't know if people could make that room in their schedule. But it would be I don't know. That's just me, though.
I would make room in my schedule, Laura.
For a 2-hour class?
No.
Well, I'll put a workshop on the calendar.
And so, speaking of workshops, Laura Barnes-Walker, you also do workshops. In fact, I was very sad to miss one of your zills.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about those zills. You got them right there.
Oh, yeah, I do. I'll put my zills on.
Give us a little clinker.
Okay. Well, zills are an instrument. They're also, known as finger cymbals. Whoops. Sorry, I got to get them on the right finger here. And they are played simultaneously with the dance. So you can play different patterns. Or you can play, So all of this is going on, it's a whole different part of the brain that you utilize when you start playing zills while you're dancing. I do a lot of zill work in my level 2 class on Monday nights, and the girls are always like, I'm getting smarter, I'm playing this, because it really is just coordinating physical movement with like playing an instrument and keeping the timing going. And my big challenge is, one of the things I really had to learn as a dance teacher is how to talk and dance at the same time, right? I can do that now. I can talk and dance in the same time. It totally works. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and give all the cues but talking and zilling and dancing at the same time.
Oh my God.
I'm still working on that one.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's not easy.
It's not easy doing the zills anyways.
Yeah, because you also have to breathe.
Right.
That's the tough part. That's the part that I leave out sometimes. How could I say that as a yoga teacher? But no, it is like, coordinating all of it is still challenging to me. So I'm learning every day.
Yeah, it's good for the brain, folks. So, Laura, if somebody was really interested in joining, and I highly recommend your dance classes, especially since Palika is no longer teaching and off doing permaculture and beekeeping and all those wonderful things, saving the earth, that I know she's so passionate about, and we support her totally in that.
Oh, absolutely.
But there was a little bit of a space. I mean, I still miss it. And,
oh, yeah.
But I have you now, and thank God for that. I mean, thank Goddess for that.
That's the thing is when Palika started kind of retreating and getting interested in permaculture and beekeeping, and hi, Palika out there if you're listening. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I kind of panicked. I felt like, who's going to be the tribal belly dance teacher in town? What are we going to do? It's going to leave town? I don't think so, right? I really didn't want to see tribal belly dance evaporate from the Santa Cruz dance scene, which Santa Cruz has such a rich ethnic dance scene, but without tribal belly dance, there would be a gap. And so that's when I saw that she was, heading towards retiring from teaching dance. I started getting prepared, and that's when I got my yoga certification, and I started studying with Suhaila Salampour School of Dance and Carolina Noricchio, and I was performing really heavily during that period of time, and that's an education in itself as well. And I started through yoga, I really learned to structure a class so that it kept my students' bodies healthy. So that's, and so I felt like that's why I just didn't want it to go away, and so somebody had to step up. So I stepped up.
Thank you, Laura Barnes Walker. So they could go to Calla Lilly Tribal.com. CallaLillyTribal.com. You can also email CallaLillyTribal@gmail.com if you want to ask questions. I have a Monday night class, and that's my level 2 class, and that's kind of for the more advanced students. That's by instructor approval only, because you have to kind of know the repertoire before you jump into that one, and you have to get the zills going. And so the level 1 class is Wednesday nights, and both classes are 6 to 7:30. And the level 1 class is done as a 6-week series. So basically you need to commit for a level 1 class to all 6 weeks, because it's really, each week builds on the week before. And so my next 6-week series starts, I'm in the middle of a 6-week series right now, which is full. And my next 6-week series starts on March 6th. Yes. So March 6th will be the next time that someone will be able to sign up if they're not already taking your classes.
Right.
And that would be for a 6-week series.
Right. So that would be March 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th, and April 3rd and 10th.
And then probably there'll be the next
right,
series.
And then I'd announce the next series. The next series, usually I skip a week and then start a new series, just to give myself a chance to breathe and advertise.
And you're also on Facebook.
Yeah.
So you have your Facebook page,
right?
Calla Lilly Tribal.
It's just I don't. Calla Lilly doesn't have a Facebook page. It's just me.
Oh, I thought.
I need to make I'm a little slow in the technology upkeep. My website does.
I see it in my mind's eye.
I put a lot of belly dance pictures on my.
That's what it is.
On my page. So. Yeah, you can definitely see that.
I'll make sure we do that before
somebody help me with the technology end of this business. I know I'm definitely fall into that category of the non-technological artist. I'm getting along. I'm doing my best.
You're doing wonderful. Laura Barnes Walker. I want to just play this song. This is one of my favorite songs. I was going to play it in the background for us. So
okay.
Here we go. This is... We'll just have this as we go out. Now, before we move on, and we've got our next guest coming in, Misha Bonaventura will be up next. Laura, go ahead and sit down. Laura, you've got Dance Week coming up in April.
Yeah, I have 2 things coming up, and I actually, National Dance Week is at the end of April, and I'm hoping to participate in that. You have to apply, so I'm applying for my students to perform in National Dance Week, and I believe that's April 25th through like May 7th, which I think it's National Dance Week and a half. And then in the end of July, and I believe this is July 27th and 28th, my husband and I do an art show with Bonnie Doon Art Tours, and I've built a stage at my house, and my students will perform there. Hopefully, again, this year. They've done it the last 2 years, and my husband displays his art as well, and so that's in the end of July. 27th and 28th.
So that means y'all need to get into Laura's dance class so that you can be ready to perform in July. Do you ever teach men?
No, I don't.
No. But
don't.
maybe someday.
Yeah, well,
what's the demand for that, really? I mean,
yeah, well, I have found through experience that it's kind of important for women to have a place where they can go and feel safe and feel like they're with their sisters. And so I have not found any men who are compatible with that, although I have been asked to do a men's only belly dance class, and I would totally consider that.
That's
like
interesting.
Structured specifically for men. I think they would need that. It's really different.
You also recently did a workshop for teenagers.
Yes, I did. I did my first teen workshop, and it was amazing. It was really surprising and unexpected because I was imagining myself as an awkward teenager, with like very little self-confidence. And then all these women showed up, and they were like these young, courageous, self-confident women, and I was like, whoa, where are my like insecure, chubby teenagers like myself? I didn't expect them to be so fabulous. They were right on it. They got everything immediately right away, and I was like, wow, I was so overwhelmingly impressed with them. It was awesome.
Yeah, well, I know from home that there's great hope that you do maybe even a series of teenage classes because it was very well, let's say my daughter loved it. And
she did great. Yeah.
And her friends loved it. And
it's a great time to start dancing. It's a great time to start dancing and getting to. And the cool thing about teaching them was that they haven't forgotten how to move their bodies yet. A lot of times you get women in your class that are in their 30s or 40s, and they have to remember how to move if they haven't moved for a long time. These girls, they knew how to move. They hadn't forgotten, they really were in their bodies. They were so alive and so good for them. So it was really a joy.
Well, that's one of the great gifts that you are giving, and in a way a legacy of Palikas and I guess the women that started the tribal belly dance here in America, is that you've created a space for empowerment of women and of whatever your beautiful shape happens to be. And maybe it's not what society wants or, what they're asking for. But that you can go there and you can shake your bootay with your girlfriends.
Exactly.
And know that we're appreciating it and loving it, and that it helps build
and that we are all beautiful and perfect and whole, and we will dance in celebration of that fact.
Oh, hallelujah. Thank you so much, Laura Barnes.
Thanks for having me.
Walker.
This was fun.
Oh, I wish you the best. Calla, Lilly, Tribal. How about a little? That's how we end our classes. That's how we're ending our show today. Laura Barnes Walker, thanks again. I hope to have you back on.
Thanks for helping me and having me on the show.
So, CallaLillyTribal.com.
Yes.
Excellent. And that's where y'all should go. And please stay tuned. I've got Misha Bonaventura. We're going to be talking about what is erotic. We're having a really fun show this week, folks.
I want to stay.
Yeah, please do. And if you missed any part of what Laura just said, no worries. It will be on Artist on Art, plus the video, and coming up next. So please stay tuned.